common ground. I mean, look, would you put someone down because they are fat? Would you put someone down because they speak a different language than English? Because they have a different skin color? So that's unfortunately mentality of many people. They're racists, they are, I don't know how we're going to call it, shapist, fat, thin, whatever. Islam, when we come and talk about it, we say, look, it doesn't discriminate in anyone on any of these grounds. There is no distinction, discrimination between people in their language, in their color, in their race, in their wealth, whatever. The only difference between human beings is who's more righteous and pious, God conscious in the sight of God. So you can say, oh, look at this individual who's so good in terms of their attitude and their behavior, in their etiquettes, in terms of dealing with people. This man or this woman is helping the poor and the needy, is speaking the truth always, compared to the other person who say it's not. So that is the distinction we can say is a reasonable distinction to make, in who is better, right? So that is the message of Islam in terms of interaction with people. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you know about anything about him? Okay.
Only what she just told me, which is probably not true.
He said there is no superiority over an Arab over a non-Arab, and over a non-Arab over an Arab, or a black man or a white man. So a black man, a black person, is not superior to a white person, and a white person is not superior to a black person. There is no superiority. The only difference, as I said, is God consciousness and piety. The same Prophet said, stand firm in witnessing, okay? Even if it goes against your own self, witnessing to the truth. Even if it goes against your kith and kin. That means when you are going to be a just witness, a person who's going to give testimony, you need to speak the truth even if it goes against your own self, against your own family. So our Prophet, because he's a spokesperson of our Creator, is told to say that, he said this, even if my daughter, Fatima, even if she were to steal, the punishment, not on camera please on her, right? Even if the daughter of the Prophet, if she were to steal, of course she would not, even if she were to, the punishment should be implemented on her. Now look at what happens in society. If you're powerful and rich, if you're a monarch, if you're a king or a prime minister, what happens if your children of your family does something wrong, a crime? Right? It's like the law doesn't apply to you. You bribe the law system so that the punishment is not implemented. That's what people do. But in Islam, the system is that justice is justice. It needs to be served, whether it goes against you.
Ask him the proof from the Quran. They won't show you the proof. Ask him the proof, show me the proof. He cannot show that. Because there is no proof.
So, as I was saying, people are so jealous about this religion. This religion in which it says, like, justice should prevail. Justice. Doesn't matter if you're an Israeli or a Palestinian or an English or a French. Justice is implemented. You should not violate just in being unjust. So you should not go and, for example, talking about occupying someone else's land. As an English person, if you did that to French, that's injustice. Just because you have the power. You know how English went and colonized most of the world, right? At one point. And they looted the world and so on and so forth. In the eyes of justice, that was wrong. And we have to be, open to this. Like English people did wrong, and whatever is done wrong, we can see if we can mend it back, rectify it. So if it means that the English monarchy and government needs to pay back to these countries, colonized countries, they went to West Indies and Indian subcontinent and so on, give them back what you've looted, for example. That will be justice served. So Islam is built on this primary foundation of justice. So when Islam says, you need to be just to yourself, and what does it mean? You acknowledge that you have a creator, and you give right to that creator. Look, did your parents give you life? Did my parents give me life? They didn't. They were only a process to bring us in life. Life is something like, if life goes away from me, you know what's going to happen? I'll just fall dead. Like a piece of meat, I won't move. Life is something that animates me.
Like your soul.
something that animates me, keeps me still living. When that goes away, my soul departs from my body. It will be a piece of meat flat on the ground. It's not going to do
So
anything.
do you believe, obviously, this is you only have one life, and then you die and you go to, is it Jannah then?
Jannah or paradise or heaven. So we believe in this life is a life of test to fulfill the purpose what we are created for, which is to worship God alone without any partners. Not saying God has a daughter or a brother or uncle or a wife or a son, whatever. God is one. And we can talk about why God is one. Even rationally it makes sense. Based on our belief and our actions, we will be judged once everything is destroyed at one point. Because everything will come to an end at one point. It will be all destroyed. But there will be recreation again, and there will be a day of judgment. And that judgment, no one can help anyone. Your father, your mother, your brother, your uncle, your king, your nation, no one can help you. Everyone will be like shaking with their feet, like there's no helper but what they have accrued in terms of their belief and their actions. The judgment will be such that not an iota of injustice will be done. At that day of judgment, God is the one who will be judged. So no one can help you. Are we ready for that judgment? Did we fulfill our obligation? Did we actually give the right to our Creator why we are created for? So when I talk about life, sometimes people don't talk about it. You know, people know for sure we're going to die, right? I'm going to die for sure, and you're going to die for sure. This belief that I'm going to live forever is a belief in the heart which indicates to you that there will be a life where there will be life forever. It's there already in you, but not in this life. So in heaven, there will be life forever. Or in hell, there will be life forever. So we don't want to go to a hell where there's life forever and punishment.
But don't you think that's a terrifying idea that you would live forever? Like if you either went to heaven or hell, like that's
hell
scary.
is terrifying.
That's just, yeah, but even in heaven,
Okay.
you want to live forever.
Let's when you're happy, when you're immersed in joy and happiness, do you feel bored? Not at that moment.
But I am happy.
No, when you are happy, at any moment of extreme felicity, joy and happiness, ecstasy, right? This joy that you have, at that point you don't say, oh, it's boring. You enjoy the moment, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Right, yeah.
heaven is constant continuation of this enjoyment. You will never feel bored. You will never feel, I don't like it anymore. Just like your momentary happiness, you don't feel bored. And in fact, at point of ecstasy and happiness in this life, you want it to last long, don't you? We all want it to last longer. I want to be even more happier. Heaven is that continuation of happiness forever and forever. So it's not going to be something like you'll be afraid of. You'll be enjoying that life.
Right, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So as Muslims, we say life is given by our Creator, not by our parents, not by evolution,
Your friend's back.
not by evolution. If our parents were the one who gave us life, what if I died as a child and you died as a child? If they had the ability to give life, they should be able to give life again, right? Because they have the ability. But guess what happens? Every parent, when their child dies, they keep crying and crying because they can't give life again. That demonstrates without a shadow of doubt, they were not the one capable of giving life. They're only a process. Come together and a process, and that happens. So life is given by who? The one who has fashioned us in such a proportion. Look at my fingerprints and your fingerprints. Is it the same? Your fingerprints and my fingerprint, is it the same? Everyone's fingerprints are different. Who or what is making this uniqueness? Look, if you roll a dice, this gentleman rolls a dice. All the people roll a dice.
You're not going to die.
It is a possibility.
That's all have died.
It's a possibility that you might get 1.1, and he might get 1 as well, right?
Yeah.
Right, isn't it? By chance. If it was by chance, everyone's fingerprint should have been at least 2 or 3 or 5 or 100 fingerprints should be the same. But it doesn't happen. If you roll a dice by chance,
No fingerprint is there.
excuse me. If you roll a dice, by chance, two dice can have the same number. 6, 6, 5, 5, and so on. By chance. But fingerprints, always unique. That tells us again, this is not by chance. It's by intentional design. Intentional design can only come from what? An intentional designer. These are enough evidence for us to be convinced of a creator who created us. You see, you can go to science and philosophy. Both can tell you and convince you there is a creator. You know, when some people say, I don't believe in God, guess what happens? When they're about to die, like a plane, and then it says, pilot says, we've lost our engines. They don't, at that time, they don't say, oh, Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, save me. Oh, Superman Clark Kent, save me. Do you know who they turn to?
That's true, yeah.
They turn to God.
I never said I didn't believe in God.
Now, there are people, if you ask them, they will say, no, I don't believe in God. The same people, when in a situation like this, they turn to God that they believe doesn't exist. Why? So in our heart, in our mind, in our intuition, basically it's called internal natural disposition. A fitra is the Arabic word, in which we know that our Creator exists. And we know our Creator is worthy of our thanks and our praises and our gratitude. When we say about gratitude, if I was walking on the street, right? You as a compassionate person saw me having an accident. Call the ambulance, got on the ambulance, took to the hospital. Not in England, so another place, remote place. I needed blood, I was dying. You said, check my blood. Your blood matched with mine. You gave blood to save me. I'm still losing blood, I'm dying. One of my kidneys failing, 2 of my kidneys fail. I'm gonna die. You said, check. You gave one of your kidneys to save me. I wake up 1 week later. I asked the nurses, and I found out you have done all this to me. You were under no obligation. You didn't know me. You only met me in Speaker's Corner. You were not under obligation because you are kind and compassionate and you are merciful. I find this out. What would be my natural response to you? Get lost? Or should I say, thank you for saving me? Which should be my natural response? Gratitude. Gratitude. The one who gave us 2 kidneys and a heart to circulate the blood around the body, the lungs to receive oxygen, the food to take in, to employ in our body to distribute energy. The creator of my body, the one who gave me life and the means to sustain it. Should I not be thankful? I should be thankful. That is the natural response. So Islam tells us, why we are here is to thank God, glorify God, praise God, to be grateful to God. How we do this is by first recognizing, acknowledging, and knowing how to do that. If you have a friend who wants to appreciate your friendship, right? He wants to give you a gift. This friend of yours, let's say he's a footballer. He plays football. He lives football. He dies football. That's the obsession he has with football. So he has his boot that he uses to play football and score goals. He won so many matches with this, playing with this ball. So he considered, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap my smelly boots and I'm going to give it to my friend. But guess what? He didn't even ask you or want to find out whether you like football or not. You hate football. You don't like this match, let alone his smelly boots. And he gives it to you. You will say, I can understand where it's coming from, but he should have at least known how to appreciate, and so on and so forth. So that's why what I'm saying is, many people, they want to appreciate God because they know God is their creator by their own thinking. Some Hindus, not Hindus in general, these are certain groups, so I'm not generalizing Hinduism. There was a Channel 4 documentary many years ago. Certain groups where these people, to appreciate and show their love to God and their worshipping of God, they baked their own excretion and ate it to show appreciation. Now, we will say that's disgusting, but they don't consider it to be disgusting. Why would God appreciate something? Could it be disgusting to God as well? They should have asked and find out. So that is not the way to worship God in this way. So you cannot worship God the way you like. To appreciate God and give thanks to God is to know what God appreciates from us, the way He says, I will accept your thanks this way, right? This is where the role of prophet and messenger comes. God appoints, the Creator appoints a prophet and a messenger and tells them, this is why you are created. That's how you can give thanks to your God and relation to God. And they show to us with proof and evidence. And this is why human beings absolutely are in need of a prophet and a messenger. There are prophets and messengers to all nations. Do you know why they came to all nations? Because God is just. He cannot punish a nation somewhere in the east, far east, without sending a warner, a prophet and messenger, telling them what to do, when He sent a prophet somewhere else, saying, well, why didn't you go there? When there was no way they could go there. Oceans in between. So it makes no sense that God, who is just and fair, punish a nation for not them worshipping God when He didn't tell them how to. But Quran, the final revelation from God, tells us He sent before to all nations a warner, telling them, avoid false God and worship the one and only true God. Be grateful to Him. Yeah? So the way to get back to our God and be right to our Creator and give this right is to know who the final messenger is from God, the final scripture, final revelation from God, and apply that to our life. Then we will have the conviction and certainty that in the hereafter, in the day of judgment, we will be the one who will go to a place of happiness, bliss, tranquility and contentment, and we saved ourselves from punishment, from torture, from suffering. God already sent His final messenger, Prophet Muhammad. His name is Muhammad from Arabia, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was giving the Quran a guidance for all mankind, for all times. The difference between him and all the other prophets is he is the final messenger with the final book, because there is no need anymore now, as humanity has come to a world is a small village now, to a point where the message has reached everyone. You don't need another messenger to come, and a completion of message is there. Completed, finalized, perfected, culminated. So if you ask a Muslim scholar, what's the solution to euthanasia, gene cloning, they will come up with an answer. Why? The principle of guidance is given. But if you go to any other religion which is still there, possessing some remnants of truth still, because what happened was people corrupted these messages. When a prophet and a messenger came, after they passed away, they changed the message and corrupted that guidance. And that's why there are different religions today.